So what I want people to know is nature is so abundant and it just wants to produce and have life. So the minute you understand what's being done and you don't buy in with fear and you clean up your diet and you do some things like being in the sun and grounding and getting right with the fact that you're made in the image of God and all that that means, then go forth and multiply.
Hello and welcome to the Layla Show, Dr. Northrup. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you on my show. You know, we met during the whole COVID insanity, which I think it brought together so many of us, and we just connected immediately. And I don't know if anybody has, or if any of our viewers have seen you speak, but you also have this sense of humor. You know, where you're speaking data and facts, but you have the whole audience laughing, and I just love watching you speak. You know, you've been in this business, gosh, since the 80s. I mean, you've been in a long time. I mean, you were a frequent star on the Oprah and the Dr. Oz show, and you literally went from #1 bestsellers. How many books have you written so far?
10.
10 books.
10, three were New York Times bestsellers. Yep.
You're a hot commodity. You're like, everybody wants a piece of Dr. Northrup. And then COVID hits and you start speaking out, and you're very vocal because, you know, you've been in this holistic world for a long time, but I want to let you go into your background. And now all of a sudden, you know, everybody's kind of like, whoa. So just share us your intro, your background, and how you know, where you were, how you got to where we are today before we go into some
in childhood, I had a brother who my parents took out of the hospital because a nurse said, if I were you, I'd get him out of here. He will die because the doctors don't know what's going on. And I had a sister who died in the hospital in a pool of her own vomit at the age of 6 months. So my parents said, we're not going to let this one die alone, so he can die at home. And my parents fed him every hour on the hour with a nasogastric tube. At the age of a year, he weighed 10 pounds. My mother had been told that he was mentally defective. She knew he wasn't. And they finally found a Dr. Crump at Women's Medical. Now, remember, my mom and my dad's brother and sister were medical doctors, and he was a dentist. So he knew how to do NG tubes and all of that stuff. And they finally found a doctor, and she put down a fiber optic light down my brother's esophagus. She was a pioneer in pediatric endoscopy. And she said the esophagus was so eroded from the tubes that she was going to just take the tube out and see what happened. Imagine benign neglect, just see what happens here. And he got hungry. And then they gave him the dumbest thing in the world, orange juice, which is acid. And he screamed, but he kept it down. And then he started eating. And to this day, we've never known what was wrong with him. He didn't have pyloric stenosis. He didn't have any of that. And so we were told all those things. And then when I was interviewing around the country at medical schools in the 70s, my dad got chest pain, ended up in the coronary intensive care unit at Buffalo General. Day 3, he calls my mother, Edna, come and get me. They don't know what's going on. He had phlebitis from an infiltrated IV. So his arm's blown up. He has a fever. He gets it that they just don't know what's going on. And so my mother gets him. He walks out of there with the chest lead still dangling. The nurses were angry. They wouldn't bring a wheelchair. And so remember, I am interviewing in medical school while this is going on. I come home. He's sitting up in his chair reading The Godfather by Mario Puzo, and fluid 2/3 of the way up in both lung fields. He can't lie down, and he gets well at home. No thanks to the doctors. He, in fact, had infectious pericarditis. It was misdiagnosed, and he got well at home. So I remember so well I'm ironing. And I've decided to go to medical school because it's a better degree than a PhD. I just always wanted to be a biology teacher. And so I'm ironing, and I say to my mother, "Well, I'm just going to find out why doctors don't talk to you, why they don't tell you the truth. Why don't they say, we don't know, but let's call on a higher authority? Like there's something else going on here, like God, that we can, bring into play." And so I went to med school, never intending to practice, and saw a baby born and just nearly fell to the floor with the pain-filled joy of the whole thing, and that was it. It was the holiest moment of my life, and then it was OBGYN from then on. So I went from, "Oh, I don't wanna practice because 'cause I've seen my aunt and uncle and their life sucks," like, they have to leave every Thanksgiving and Christmas to go attend their patients, to going into the most patient-intensive field, that you can go into where you're up all night, delivering babies and all of that, but it was like breathing, as easy as breathing, and at the time, I was doing all this stuff that I knew should have been standard, like, let the umbilical cord continue to pulsate. Don't put silver nitrate in the baby's eyes. It stings them. All the things that we do on the first day of life. I watch baby boys circumcised on the first day of life.